Last round. Fight!
Hello and welcome to the Last Round Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Saunders. Joining me as always, my co-host, Anton Austin. We're here at All Powers to speak with Panicos Yusuf. Thank you for having us down.
Thank you.
How did your martial arts journey begin?
It started in the year 2000. My Thai boxing journey started in 2000. I've always had a fascination for martial arts and contact sports in general. From a very young age, I tried karate at the age of 7 or 8, and I did it on and off for about 6 months. I think that what put me off was the non-contact.
Yeah. I remember, funny that, because I remember Paul Carthage saying that as well, that he went to karate and he didn't like the fact that there was no, hitting back and forth and stuff.
Yeah.
What were your inspirations in combat sports when you were growing up?
My inspirations, being a 90s kid, I suppose it would have been Van Damme, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, watching all of those. But there was no real particular fighter that I looked up to because I hadn't really been into martial arts properly.
Right. Did you start Muay Thai whilst you were in Cyprus?
Yeah, so I started at a gym called Lumpini under a guy called Panicos Yusuf, who also trains Michael Savas. Michael Savas was from there as well, so we came from the same gym. That was the beginning of my journey. I was there for 5-6 years before I moved over to the UK for the weather.
Yeah, for the weather, yeah.
When you came over, was there anyone in particular who you kind of drew inspiration from in the UK Muay Thai scene, or were you not really that familiar with it back then?
It's not that I didn't, that I had inspiration as such, but more that there was people that eventually I wanted to become as good and fight.
Right, okay. What was the first gym you was at when you came to the UK?
The first gym I went to was Master Skens.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Was you there? Were you there at the same time as Paul?
Yeah, but we didn't really get to train together. I don't know if it was because of the times that I trained and that, but we didn't really get to train. I mean, there wasn't a lot of sparring anyway, and it wasn't your typical Thai boxing gym where you do a lot of sparring and your clinch and your pad work. We didn't really. We trained a couple of times, but not enough to say that we were proper teammates. Really. Yeah.
How does the training differ over here from when you first came over and trained over here? How would it differ from when you were in Cyprus, for example?
I felt like I started again from the beginning.
Really?
Yeah. The level here of Thai boxing is very, very high. I think overall across the whole country, from the most beginner to the most advanced, I think we have a very, very good level of Thai boxing. I know, say France, you've got a lot of good fighters, and then you get the odd fighters in Russia, etc., and stuff like that. But here in the UK, there's a lot of good fighters, and I don't know if it's because maybe we know about them more, but I don't know. You see some of these kids that you've never heard of and got better technique than me. Fight sharper, and it's just a shame that a lot of them get into teenage years and let
distractions
take
and
over.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Distractions.
It's interesting. Now, how do you think, as a coach, just kind of jumping forward a bit, but how do you think you can kind of shape someone into that way where they are very strict and they do stay on course and do stay out of that kind of thing?
It's hard. You wanna be there as a role model. You wanna influence them, but essentially they have to want to not do all those other things. I mean, I of course I was young as well, and I wanted to do all the stuff, but I always knew my mind. So I think it depends on the person. I always knew I never wanted to smoke. I always knew I wanted to be in the gym. I always knew I couldn't be bothered going to college. I just wanted to go. I just wanted to train. That's all I had in my mind. So I had a passion for it, but I was very disciplined. And as any coach would say, I've had a lot of talents over the years come through the door and just wasted away.
It's a shame.
But now I've got to a point where I see talent, and people here will say, "Oh yeah, look at that kid, he's really good," and I just think, yeah, sure, but it doesn't mean anything to me unless there's dedication and commitment. I'm not really interested. I've got people who have a third of the talent of some of these guys, but have all the dedication and discipline and commitment, which I'm happy to invest all my time in.
Do you think you can progress in martial arts without having that dedication and time to pursue it? Do you think you can do it kind of like half-assed, for lack of a better term? Yeah.
I think you can progress to a certain point, but at some point you're going to get caught out. At some point somebody's going to kick your ass, and you know, there's always someone better than you, of course. But there's only to a certain degree you can get away with a little bit of talent or a little bit of commitment. But you've got to work hard. Essentially, you've got to work hard. I've seen guys who have absolutely no talent, are very basic at what they do, but they've reached a very high level because they're in the gym all the time. They work on that timing. They work on those basics and make them perfect. Yeah. But yeah, no. Of course, there's only so far you can go without commitment and dedication.
When did you begin teaching here at All Powers? And it's a two-part question, really. When did you begin teaching here, and how do you find it hard coaching and being an active fighter as well at the same time?
So I started teaching here in 2010. I started teaching. All Powers was founded by me and my best friend Jamie Lays in 2013. So before that it was called Stockport Thai Fighters, which was a guy called Paul Tite who also trained at the Master Scan. Yeah. He retired and went to Thailand and left me the gym. Yeah. So then I slowly built it and got to here where I am today now. Fighting, I've always, because I ended up taking the gym at a very young age, and at a time that I was in my kind of like my peak of fighting. I didn't want to quit. That was a very, very hard time because I wasn't established, and the students didn't really have the same respect for me as they did my previous coach. Yeah. I was up and coming still. But in time I built it. It got easier. But it just meant every time I was away, I'd give my classes to some of my students. I'd rely on some of my students to help me cover my classes, but it wouldn't always be busy because, of course, some students don't want to be taught by other students, and you know. Yeah. But I've got to a point now where I've built some of my students up to a really good level, and they run some of the classes here. I had Remy, used to be a coach, now he's moved on. He's looking to open up his own place, and now I've got Dan Butler who helps. So I find it so much easier because I've got things in place now. So I've got a good network of people around me. My wife runs the gym, like the whole admin side of it. So she pretty much manages everything. I'm just like the face here, the pretty face. So I've taken on a couple of other instructors on, and so when I'm away, they cover for me, which makes it easier for me. Now, I don't need to fight financially. Yeah. I make more money from staying in the gym over 6 weeks than I would go away for a camp. Yeah. In fact, I probably lose money when I go for a fight. But I love fighting, and I want to carry on fighting because I don't want to get to an age where I'm just focusing on like just teaching and making money, and then I get old and then I resent teaching because I wish I could have fought more. Yeah. So I'd rather fight now, get it out of the way while I can, and then I can teach till I'm 50, 60 years old. You know? Definitely. I can go on forever.
Did you ever have any doubts in your mind? You know, when you took over the gym and you're still at a young age and you're still trying to, you know, make that name, and you know, the classes might not be as busy as you like, or like you mentioned about the same respect and stuff like that. Did you ever, you know, some days wake up and think, I don't know if I can do this?
There was
difficult times.
It was very, very difficult. I didn't really make that much money. A good week, 100, 150 quid I was making, and I was about a normal week was like 60, 70 quid. And for about 6 months, 8 months in of trying, I was like to my wife that I'm going to get a full-time job. Yeah. And she'd say, no, keep at it, you know, persevere, get your head down and just keep focusing on the gym. And really, because of her, otherwise I'd probably be working as doing something else, you know. So yeah, like I persevered, and stuck at it, and slowly I built it up.
Yeah, well done for that. And
Yeah.
big shout out to your partner and your wife, because you know, said
yeah.
things could be a lot different.
I think that's kind of like a common thing with a lot of people that we've had on, that it seems like a lot of people who are fighters have that kind of, you know, partner there who, you know, does a lot of
Tough,
stuff
isn't
for
it?
them, and yeah.
You need that, because it's a lonely sport, and it's a very selfish sport. We go away, we disappear for like, even if we're here doing our camp, we're not here essentially. Do you know what I mean? It's 5-6 weeks of being a dick to you.
Yeah, I was
to
gonna
the
say, what are
people
you
around
like during
and
camp?
you're gonna be a dick to the closest people around you. You know what I mean? So you're tired, you're starving, so you say something and they didn't hear you, so you get, do you know what I mean? And so you know they put up with it, you know, and it's like, they you know, credit's due where, you know, where credit's due. Like I say, it is a very selfish sport, and you need that support behind you, you know, and you need someone who's very understanding of them, you know, understanding that you're that way for a reason. You're that way. You're that distant. You know, you need to be away. You can't go and pick up the kid from school, or you know what I mean. And they take everything on. So essentially, they become a single parent. You know what I mean? I go away 6 weeks at a time sometimes, and then because I'm fighting abroad with one, I'm like 6-week camp, because I want to like completely immerse in my training. I don't want to have any distractions or whatsoever. Not that I don't miss my family, but I want to completely focus on just being a student. And then 6 weeks of training, 5 to 6 weeks of training. Then I've got a week to get to the country where it's at. And then I've come back. Then do you know what I mean? And then I'm straight back into teaching. So really, I've been away for like 7-8 weeks at a time. And then again.
It's difficult.
You've fought some of the top UK fighters and also some top Thais. Who do you think has been your toughest fight that you've had?
I get this question asked a lot, and I always say that. Every fight has presented its own challenges, you know. And there's been a learning curve for me. But if one ever stands out, it would be the Greg Wotton fight. Because that was the one that changed my course and made my weakness one of my strengths, you know, which was the clinch, you know.
Yeah, I agree, because I'm sorry to interrupt you. I remember watching that fight, and like, you know, you are known for you being very, very good in the clinch. And I remember watching it. This is a while back now, and I'm thinking, wow, he out clinched Panicos, but then like you fast forward years, you think now Panicos is a
but
beast.
This is it.
So
it's like in my head, I thought I was good, but you know, thanks to him, like my clinch game is improved a lot, because if he didn't expose that, then I wouldn't have worked on it, you know. So it's so easy to get caught up in all the winnings that and you, so that you don't think that you need to work on anything. You just come in the gym and do your usual thing. But yeah, that's all I did. I didn't fight for a year after that. All I did was just clinch, and then my first fight with I can't remember his name. He was an Irish guy.
Okay.
Forgot his name. From Martin Horgan's, Seamus Cogan.
Right.
Yeah. Fought him for first fight back. But yeah, it was. Like I say, every fight's presented its challenges, and you know, I've learned from like the Manichai fight, and I've learned from all my fights, you know. And but what I tend to do is I try not to look at what I did well, but I try to look at what I did wrong, you know. So like every fighter, we're our worst own critic, you know.
I think that's always good for junior fighters, and you know, people who are just starting out. What you just said, then looking on, you know, the negatives as opposed to all the positives. You know, kick really good. Look at the stuff that you're not so good at, and really perfect it.
We get so caught up with social media and the pressure of people like bigging us up that we feel that we're letting people down. But I mean, when has anyone ever come up to you when you've lost and say, "Oh, you're a disappointment"? Nobody really cares. Everybody's proud of you that you've been able to go through that whole process and get that fight. You know, of course, you as a fighter feel depressed in that moment in time, but because you're disappointed with yourself, you know, and which is natural. And then, but it's what you do with that loss. You know, you go home and just close yourself up in a shell, or do you go out and work on those mistakes? You know, and it's funny because I not enjoy a loss, but I see it as a positive.
Yeah.
You know, because I think, right, well, I could have done this, and I'm going to do this, and right, why did I lose this fight? And I'll sit and I'll analyze it myself, and I'll watch fights hundreds of times, you know, and then
Yeah.
I'll try and analyze everything, and I'll say, right, okay, well, I did this, and did this. But yeah, people should take the losses as a positive. Well, everything's
Yeah, as a learning curve. It's mad you say that, because we spoke to a good few fighters, haven't we? And sometimes, can't remember who said it, but you know, they might have lost a fight and then they won't necessarily dwell on it, but they won't really watch the fight again, stuff like that. And me personally, I'd watch it, and you know, probably drive me a little bit mad, but that's just my personality. Yeah. But some fighters have said, haven't they? They don't really watch too much and dwell on it. But
it depends how you perceive it, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I watch some fights back and I'm like this, you know, and I'm like, oh my
fast forward
God,
that,
what
I
are
don't
you
wanna see
doing?
that.
It's like, why would you do that? And but it's essential. I think it's important to see it, you know, like I'm a counter fighter, and so I move back a lot, and I wait for people to throw the shots first. But what I've realized in time is, for one championship, you can't do that. You can't fight as a counter fighter. You need to be a bit more aggressive. You need to be a bit stronger in the back foot. And like my last fight with the Chinese guy, Zhang Shalong, and I was coasting, winning, and then I threw a left body kick, just relaxed, you know, and it was my fault, because I remember the moment when I threw the kick. I just threw it, you know, just without thinking about it.
I think it was on one leg though, weren't you? When he caught,
but still, but it was because I didn't drive my arm, I didn't turn properly. I just threw it, you know, relaxed, you know. And probably with an 8-ounce glove, I would have been okay.
Yeah,
you know? But it was those MMA gloves. You get concussed with every jab. Yeah. Every jab, you see white flashes. And but yeah, well, that it's a tough lesson. It's a tough lesson, and it's a shit lesson really, because I was really annoyed with myself, because it's not a fight I should have lost. But that's what I get for getting comfortable. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was it. It only takes a second to, you know, to relax, and then that's it, you know.
We've had a few guests on who you've cornered or coached them. They've been very complimentary about you. Like, obviously we had Remy on, and we had Jack Kennedy on as well. And I know you've cornered him a few times. I was curious to know, like, when you're cornering Jack Kennedy, what do you think that you kind of bring to the table as a cornerman for someone who's not actually your fighter?
Jack Kennedy is I like to think that Jack Kennedy is, in a way, very similar to how I fight. Not in regards to taking elbows, though. He's very good at that, defending with his face. But no, he's very. I think we're very similar fighters, and I don't know what it is. Maybe our personalities, but we're very synced. As in, like, when I give him the information, he seems to pick it up straight away. I think we just, some coaches and, you know, and fighters gel well together, you know, and I think with him, like, because he's not, I mean, he occasionally trains with me, but really we don't spend that much time together. When we're in the corner, he listens well. I think that one of the main reasons he listens well, but he can do everything I ask, because we are very similar in the way that we fight.
Were you in his corner when he fought Totti?
Yes, he was in it. Yeah, he was in his. It was a very, very. I mean, well, I thought he won, but it was a very, very close fight. I explained to him. I can't remember now exactly, but I remember explaining to him at the time what it was that he was doing that I thought lost him the fight. If there was a reason for him to lose in the fight, I can't remember it very well. But I just remember him just allowing it to go tit for tat. Yeah. That's where we lost it, you know. Yeah. Jack's skill level is very, very high. I think sometimes he just gets carried away and tries to go toe to toe, and he doesn't take advantage of his countering, his countering work. He's very, very skillful in that way. He's got very good fitness. He's very strong, and because he wins a lot of fights going forward as well. Even though he's a good counter fighter. I think sometimes he just needs reminded that he can control the fight from the outside. I mean, I think one of the fights that stood out for me when I cornered him, when he fought Tommy McCormick, and oh my God, like everything I said he did exactly, and I said, right, this round you're going to stop him, you're going to do this, this, and this, and this, and he just did it exactly as I said, And I was like, wow. I was like playing a video
tricky
game.
opponent
It's like
as
playing a
well,
video
Tommy,
game.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Very tricky.
Yeah, because he was trying to. I think he was trying to engage, and he was getting caught out. And I said, no, just wait for him. Sit back, wait for him, and defend,
Yeah.
and then we'll see the counters. And that's how he started catching him out. Because then Tony McCormick started coming forward, trying to chase for the shots, and that's when he started making mistakes. But this is what I mean. Like, Jack's got really high skill level. He's sharp and he's good counters. So he doesn't really need to go forward that much. He could sit back on his back foot and just play from there and beat people. But but like I say, it's I think we gel quite well together, and he listens well, in the corner.
Yeah. What do you think is some of Remy's strengths as a fighter?
Remy, he's got a lot of heart. Definitely not his listening skills. He knows this. I think one Christmas I bought him some cotton buds as a Christmas gift. But yeah, no, Remy's really skillful fighter in the gym. He'll listen. He's on point. He's sharp. And then when he fights, he's 50-50. He'll either be super amazing and beat guys like James Ogden. Yeah. And then he'll fight another time and he'll fight a brawler and lose. And like, I know he knows that he's much better than that. Yeah. But I don't know what it is. Sometimes maybe it's just on the day he's just not on it mentally or what. But yeah, no, he's probably got, I must say, Remy's probably, for me, officially got the strongest body kicks. I don't know powers though. Yeah. He's like donkey power. Yeah. Very, very strong. He's got this thing as well when he clinches, like when I clinch him sometimes, because he's very strong in the clinch as well. He'll do this where you're just standing at arm's length and he'll just reach his hand out and grab your head and just go like that. Oh, it's so annoying.
Yeah, he's got long
so
arms.
Annoying.
He was showing us his reach when after we interviewed him. He was showing us his reach.
He'll just go like this and grab your head and just pull it down. And I'm like, oh. Yeah.
Obviously, he fought against Prince from Too Technical as well. That was a war, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was a really good fight. He just got caught early on, didn't he? He got caught early on. Yeah. That's what makes Prince a dangerous fighter. He's just unpredictable. Like, he'll be here and then all of a sudden he's over there throwing a spinning back kick or something like that. It's just, I think that's what makes him a dangerous fighter. But yeah, like for me, that Remy just proved to me like how much heart he had. He got back up, and I know he was out, but he came back to the corner, and I explained to him, I tried to kind of bring him back and give him a second to come back, and then and explain to him that the only way we would win is by walking him down now. It was the only way, because when I think my memory's not as good as it used to be because from all the punches, but I think when Prince dropped him, he tried to go for the stoppage. I can't remember very well, but he was trying in. So, and I think he put a lot of effort doing it. Didn't manage to stop him, so he was out of he was out of breath.
3 rounds as well, wasn't it? So it's different.
People don't understand. 3 rounds is hard, man.
So I was going to ask you about it.
Man, like when I was doing the 5 rounds, you get 2 minutes. This is the other thing. You get 2-minute rest. You don't
also
get.
It's 1 minute.
1 minute. You don't get 2-minute rest like you do. So 2 minutes. Like what do you think when we hitting pads in the gym and we're preparing for a fight? 30 seconds tops. Back on the pads again. But in the fight, 2 minutes, man. You know what I mean? You have time to like have a drink, stand up, say hello to the crowd and stuff. But yeah, like 3 rounds is hard. 3 rounds is hard because you got to do a lot of work and then you haven't got the time to recover. But yeah, Remy just came back after that and just walked him forward, and in time he started coming round better and he's mentally sharper and just walking him down, and then towards the end he was just taking his time and picking him stuff. So did he win on points?
Yeah, he won on points. Yeah,
Prince
won on
did
points.
get knocked down as well, though, didn't he? If I remember rightly.
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
No,
I think there was a bit of a. I know we wasn't too happy with this decision. I think because Remy got given the 8 count in the first round, but then Remy went on to win the 2 rounds. So we think it should have been a draw, but then there's a bit of a dispute.
So this is the thing, like
with the 5-round fight.
With my last fight, if I had taken the 1-8 count, I would have won the fight because I'd won like 2.5 rounds essentially.
Right, okay.
And I took I took the 8 count, but because I took 2 8 counts, I was like out.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, you can still come back from if you take an 8 count in a 3-round fight, you can still come back and win it.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Don't forget it's Thai rules, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
I
that
know,
Thai
I know.
scoring. Nobody knows. Nobody knows
So what was
really
your,
how you
obviously,
score.
you know, talk too much about it, but what was your, as a coach then going into that fight, for example, Remy and Prince, with it being a 3-round fight, not a 5-round, what would, doesn't have to be that fight, but what would be your guidance and instruction going into that fight for your
I think
fighter? Start fast, take time.
The first round, with it being too technical, we are saying to him, be really tentative and be really be patient, but wait and have an understanding of your distance, because it's two technical fighters go from here to here really fast. You know what I mean? Like in angles and stuff. So and then it's shots that you don't expect. So I was saying to him that we just had to like be really careful with it. And I mean, he had his hands up, I'm sure, when he got caught with that shot, and he still, you know what I mean? And I didn't see, I don't remember seeing the shot that landed. I just seen him drop. But yeah, it was taking the first round easy, really. Taking the first round easy, especially because sometimes, apart from when the James Ogden fight, he was really good, Remy, but I find that sometimes he starts trailing off towards the end, like, you know, just dropping a little bit. Not the concentration as much, but he seems to get burnt out a little bit towards the fifth round, end of fourth and stuff. And I think with that experience, it'll come with experience, you know.
He's a big guy though, he's got a lot of muscle, so. Yeah,
but I think, because I remember doing that, I remember doing really well first 2-3 rounds, and then fourth, fifth, I start going down. And I think with experience, you start, being a bit more efficient, you know, and you know, knowing when to go, knowing how to relax and stuff. And I think it doesn't matter how many runs, how many sprints, how many rounds of pads. I think it's with experience you learn to, like, you know, to make everything last.
I'm a bit of a culprit for that myself. I'm still.
It's easy to get carried away. You know, when you feel a bit fresh, you think, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this and this, and then before I know, it's like all of a sudden I've gone from full energy to like nothing. I'm like barely able to hold my hands up now. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's. But I think sometimes I do it too much, where I think I'm going to save my energy, and then I haven't really done anything, and I'm tired, and I'm like, oh no.
You seen one I don't know which fight it was. He was fighting. Was it? It's on one. Was it the kickboxing rules? No. Thai. I'm trying to think. What's it called now? You was having a bit of back and forth with him. You were like, "Come on, what's this and that?" And
the first one, Hansi Hao, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was that one. Yeah. And what's going through your mind there when you're doing that? Are you just trying to get in the head? Is it just? Does it happen naturally just in the fight?
Yeah, no, I just wanted him to come in and engage. Thing is, like, I knew he was like an aggressive fighter, like the Chinese teams are really aggressive fighters. So I wanted him to engage, because I'm a counter fighter. But as I wanted him to come in, I wanted to like throw hard shots. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, I think just in the moment kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wasn't that the fight where? Because I've seen a lot of clips of when you teep someone in the face. Wasn't that from that fight?
I got teeped in the face in that one.
Oh, was it that one? Yeah. Which was the one where? Because I've seen on like One Championship posted and stuff, and Siam Boxing where you teep someone in the face.
That was Jordan boy. What's he called now?
Yeah, the guy with the mad hair, is it?
Yeah. It was him. Yeah, he was the one who fractured my eye.
Right.
And then I was like, I couldn't see anything for the whole round. I couldn't even tell my distance. I was like trying to throw a punch or a kick and like being way out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was him. He was the one.
Do you know when like One Championship or like say Siam Boxing, for example, share these clips of, you know, fancy, like, you know, you're doing fancy stuff? Do you find that it helps boost your profile on like social media? Like, is it beneficial for you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I tend to like get a few more followers. That Siam, I'd say Siam Boxing, One Championship, and Warrior Collective.
Warrior. Yeah.
Whenever they share stuff, I always find that I get more followers off them.
So I wanted to ask you, how did signing to One come about?
I went into MMA for a year. I can't remember the year now, but after Manichai, I went into MMA. I went down that route. I always kind of like occasionally like jump in and roll with the guys from here and stuff. And I thought, I'll give it a go. And then I had a few fights, and then Stuart Tomlinson from Warrior Collective said to me, why don't you go for the the One Warrior series.
so
The One Warrior.
Franklin, wasn't it?
The One Warrior tryouts. So he sent me the link, and I sent them an email and pads and stuff like that, and they invited me to go and do it. But I don't know why. Like, when I think about it, why did I? There was a few. So there's a few locations, like different countries that they were going to, and I signed up to the one in Japan. And you know, like when I think about it, you go, you judo guys and you judo champions and jits guys, and I'm thinking, why didn't I go like Bangkok or somewhere?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
like,
Like,
would have smashed
I
it.
would have been okay there maybe. I went there, and there was about 35 people, and they were only picking 5 guys for the One Warrior series. And the last person was between me and this one guy that they were going to pick, and they ended up picking this other guy because I was lacking in my ground. I wasn't high level. I wasn't at a high enough level for the series. So they were impressed with my stand up and that, but it wasn't enough. I needed groundwork. So Rich Franklin said to me, "Go away and come back. Send us a video of you either doing a grappling competition or improvement of your grappling, and then we'll just sign you up without the tryouts." And I said, "Yeah, sure, thanks." And then I think about 6 weeks later, I had a message saying we're starting one super series. Would you like to join? We'd like to sign you up. And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I thought, why
Was
not?
you one of the first in the UK, wasn't you, to get?
Yeah, I think it was
I
one
think
of the
you were.
first ones.
Yeah,
to get.
Yeah.
I think between me and Liam and I think a couple of others maybe. That's how it came about.
Okay.
So yeah.
So what was it like on the actual, when you got invited down there? What was the other people's stand-up like, the other fighters? Did you feel like you were miles ahead of him in respect, like?
Yeah. Well, it's MMA guys.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
There's some
No, I'm
good.
not saying MMA guys are good. No. Yeah, my stand-up, like, because we were only hitting pads, so.
Right. Okay.
If you put an MMA guy to hit pads and next to a Thai boxer hitting pads, of course the Thai boxer is always going to be more impressive.
Right.
But it's
So it
different.
wasn't so much sparring or anything like that.
No. So they did situational. So it was two. They were split in two. So you did pad hitting, which you can make it look impressive, and then we did situationals where you start against the wall in a position with, like, say one leg caught, and then you go from there. You start from there.
Okay.
And they stuck me in with this judo champ or whatever it was. But I think what they should have done really is they should have had us sparring and doing like an MMA round. Really, I suppose you would have ended up having broken noses and people knocked out in the tryouts. So,
how would you reflect on your time in one so far?
Yeah, my experience has been good with one. I've been able to
Fought some good guys, haven't you?
I've been able to fight some good guys, and just travel. I've been to Philippines for the first time. I'm Filipino from my mum's side.
Yeah, I've seen that on the bio on the one. Was having a look.
It was my first time in the Philippines, so it was a great opportunity to go back home, and I met my uncle for the first time and a few other family members from my mum's side.
That's good.
Been to Japan, it's just great. And, like, fighting in front of like 10 to 20,000 people. I mean, it's only a couple hundred.
Even the ring
people.
walks they make.
Exactly. It's only a couple hundred people more than I'm used to, but it's like, I think I was more nervous. It was my first fight for in Philippines, and it was 20,000 or something like that. And I was more nervous coming out to the crowd than I was to the fight. But it's cool. It's cool. It's really nice atmosphere,
What's the hospitality like? Looking after fighters.
They take care of fighters very well. I mean, from the moment you fly in, they pick you up from the airport, and then there you'll get there. They'll give you your spends for the week, and they'll give you they'll give you a phone with a SIM card. So you've got like free Wi-Fi, but they'll ring you on that if you need, if they need you and stuff. They take care of you properly, man. I mean, they do medical checks all the time. Every time you fight, they do a medical check, and then like when I broke my hand, they follow up. They follow up on it, and they make sure that you are cleared before you're allowed to have another fight. And they also they cover medical expenses, you know,
Right.
like, which really they don't need to.
Yeah.
But like I remember when I can't remember when it was my hand or my eye. They said to me, "We'll cover any medical expenses when you go back home." But I didn't need it. But yeah, it's just like nice to know
Yeah,
that they do.
that's
You know,
really
they
good that I
do
didn't know
take
that.
care of you. You know.
Because I know, like in the UK, we spoke to Paul Kavich, and he said when he broke his nose against Keith McLaughlin, like he just had to get a taxi to the hospital, and he was, you know, getting about different hospitals and stuff. And it seems like, you know, it's really good in the sense, you know, that they're taking a lot more care of you over there, and they care about their fighters and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that is like a really important thing in it. You'd feel a lot. I don't know if safe is the right word, but you feel like, you know, you're in better hands and stuff.
Yeah, you got that peace of mind that if anything, you know, worse happens, you're in safe hands. I mean, I broke my hand and
You're
took
gonna
me
say
to the
that.
hospital,
Yeah.
and George Mann was on the same. You remember when George Mann had that big
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
basketball on his
Yeah.
head?
Yeah. Australian kid, is it?
Yeah. No, he's Scottish.
Oh, is he Scottish?
He's Scottish, but he lives in Australia.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, we gone to the hospital, and he's like this, like, George. I saw that, and I'm like, don't go to sleep, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good memories.
I noticed that you fight slightly heavier on one, don't you, than you previously fought?
Yeah.
Is that due to the hydration test?
Yeah, so in the UK, well, I was fighting at 61.5, and I think now the lowest I'd fight with Dave before weighing is 63.5. But I only walk 69, 68 kilos. I don't really walk that heavy. But the next division under 66 kilo is 61.5, so there's no way I'm making that fully hydrated. So at least I can be comfortable when I'm fighting at 66. Just means I'm on that kind of like the smaller one of the smaller guys in that division.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think the
I don't mind
hydration tests, you know, are a good thing?
No comment.
Yeah, maybe I'll tell you off air.
Yeah. Tell me off air.
But yeah, I get what they're doing it for, but
There's ways around it.
yeah.
I think we've heard a few of those ways, but we're not gonna, like, you know, go into them.
Yeah. What was it? Saying that though, even when you fought, what was it, Muay Thai? Was it 63?
No, 66.
You look a lot bigger than him.
Yeah, but Muay Thai did fought at 61, didn't he?
Right.
I mean, he's not a big fighter, really.
True.
They're not really big fighters. I mean, Nong O's not really a big fighter.
No.
But he fights 66. You know what I mean?
So what's it like when you're coming from the UK? You're going over to, you know, if you fought in Singapore, yeah. So you're going over there and you've got this cut. Bear in mind, you just said it's not a big, massive cut. But how do you prepare and do the cuts? 'Cause I've never fought abroad, overseas.
So
and stuff like that.
I mean, when I
difficult?
do my camps, I go abroad anyway. I go to Thailand anyway.
Right.
So I'm kind of acclimatize when I'm there, and it also helps me with the time difference. You know,
Right,
I get
yeah, it's
used
a
to
big
it.
factor,
Because
yeah.
I really struggle the first week with sleep when I'm in Far East Asia.
Yeah.
Until I get used to that kind of the time difference. I'm okay when I come back home, but it's when I go I really struggle. So while I'm there and I'm doing my camp, I get used to that, and then it's not so bad. And I kind of try and cut my weight there. I calorie count, and then the thing is, I don't really have to lose that much weight because I'm starting at 69, 68 kilo anyway. So I tend to get to about 67, and I'll stay there 67 and a half, and then the rest I do in water.
Is it with one? Is there a weight which you can't exceed after the weigh-in, or no?
No,
it's not. Right.
No. As long as you make the hydration test and the weigh-in, then you're okay.
Okay.
But yeah, like you're holding, you know, you're holding it in for hours and hours, and then you have your hydration. You do your urine test, and then you've lost like another half a kilo there anyway because you've been holding it all day. You know what I mean? And the worst is when you have to hold it in and then still lose some water, and then you're like that with your bladder, but you're wearing a sweatsuit running like this, and you're like bouncing around and like, oh, it's so painful, man. That's a real test. That's a real test.
You never fought Darren O'Connor. Was curious to know why that never happened.
I can't remember exactly now, but there was always like something. There was always like we'd been set to fight, then it didn't happen, and I'm not going to say like it was his fault, but it was.
So that would have been at 61, wouldn't it?
Yeah. There was always a reason why not. It wasn't. or an injury or something, but not on my part.
Yeah.
So with your contract with One, is it like an exclusive contract, or could you still fight in the UK under like Yakao or MTGP, for example?
I can fight on other shows as long as I run it by them first.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that I think a lot of fighters are getting signed now. They've signing exclusivity deals, aren't they? Because like you've got people like Liam who can no longer fight on Yakao and stuff. Do you think that's a potential problem for the UK shows coming up, that these big names are getting signed to One and they're losing? The UK are losing their headline acts, so to speak.
100%. Yeah, 100%, because you're getting spoiled. Why would I want to fight on a show for £500 when somebody's offered me 1,500? And you know what I mean? For example,
flying across the world and
exactly, and you're fighting on a much larger platform that's billions of views, and it's the money. The money's good as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why would I want to fight for 1,500 quid on another show than when I'm getting paid 8,000 and I don't have to have the pressure of selling tickets. You know what I mean?
I seen something as well that One were doing. I think it's quite impressive. Did he help you market as a fighter?
Yeah. So
help you like your following and stuff like that.
Which they have. There's a lot more support than people see. Yeah. Like they offer help marketing wise, but it's how much effort you want to put in. If you're willing to do it, they'll help you. They have they have a team that's dedicated to that. But I think it just depends on the fighter how much they wanna pursue it.
What's your views on the UK scene? Do you think that the UK could ever have like a stadium champion in Thailand, or do you think that's like too far away?
I mean, like I said, there's a massive roster of good young fighters. It just depends on their dedication and how much passion they have for how much they want it, and also if mum and dad have money to support them. Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, man. Thailand's getting expensive. It's not as cheap as it used to be. It's like just to train for like 5-6 weeks can cost you like 600-700 quid. It's ridiculous. It's crazy money. And then you got your food on top of that, and even though it's cheap, because it's so cheap, it feels like monopoly money, so you're like that, and then before you know it, you're like, and it's so funny because when people go to town for the first time, they say to me, I'm going for 2 weeks, do you think 500 quid is enough? I'm like, look, if you're going to go with 500 quid, you're going to spend 500 quid. If you go with 3,000 pounds, you're going to spend 3,000 pounds. So it doesn't matter how much you take, you're going to spend it. It's just, that's crazy. Like you go shopping and then,
Do you get any sort of support when you go into Thailand? Like any sponsors help you out and cover costs or anything? Or
I've got One CBD UK sponsor me, and a couple of other small businesses that personal friends mainly that help me. But that's pretty much it. My main support, I suppose, is the gym, because I'm able to maintain a steady income from here while I'm away. But I earn enough now to pretty much break even. But for me, obviously I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I love the process. I love the training, not just the fight. I love the process, of going away, training. I like feeling tired. You know what I mean? Sometimes I miss it, but I look good, I feel good, and it's just nice to have that sometimes.
So just going back as well on talking about One and the money and stuff like that, do they have anything for win bonuses, or if you get in the top the top 5?
I think it just depends on there are win bonuses, but I think it depends on your contract your agreement with them, because everybody's paid different. Like there was been a couple of fighters that I spoke to who get paid a lot less than expected to, but the platform that One Championship offer, I think people would happily fight for free. You know what I mean? There are people out there would probably say, I'll fight it for free. You know what I mean? If I can get on it, So.
Also, you can wear. I've seen you in your Tanko shorts, so you can still wear your own brand and stuff like that, which is a big.
All you need to do is just send it in advance, so you don't end up wearing matching shorts. That's what they're trying to avoid. But apart from that, they're good. Yeah, you can you can promote your sponsors as well and stuff like that. They don't have a problem
I think
with
that's
that.
a big thing as well, you know, like if you're having to fight on certain shows, you've got to wear their brand.
Yeah.
You know, you've got sponsors who are expecting you to advertise, and when you're going across the world,
Exactly.
you know, it's a big thing, and it's you know.
Yeah.
That's how it
Yeah, of course. But yeah, no, they don't stop you from. I think there's a couple of things that they don't. That I think a few sponsors that they don't. Like you to use, and I think CBD is one of them. Just any type of CBD.
Right. Okay.
Really. But yeah, and apart from that, they're quite easy.
Yeah, that's good.
It's interesting that like the purses thing, because we talk about this a lot on the podcast with different guests, and like in the UK, obviously, like you said before, it's like, you know, you're getting your 500 and stuff. I'm always curious to ask people like why do you think that is? Because I was saying on the podcast we did the other day with Nathan Bendon that like you never really see like a broke promoter. So like someone is getting paid. It's just not the fighters. Do you know what I mean?
I think if I never promoted a show myself, I would say, yeah, where's all the money going from? But a production costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you've done a big
and
big
you
shows,
when you think about when you think about some shows and they do it on the very cheap, and then you know, and because they're trying to make sure that they cover the costs and make a little bit of money. You know what I mean? And if they make any money.
Yeah.
But then when you're doing these big promotions with big productions and stuff like that, it's crazy money. And if you ain't got the sponsorship to cover it, and then you're not selling the amount of tickets that you need to cover your costs, before you know it, you got nothing. So when you're negotiating purses, you're trying to negotiate the minimum.
Trying to be as frugal as possible.
Yep. Because if I say to Liam Harrison, yeah, I'll give you 10 grand, and the show's already 20 grand in debt, you know what I mean? In deficit, then
I thought on one of your shows as well, the Tanko shows, and they were top shows at Victoria Warehouse. The setup was professional. The way
I mean, we tried to even we tried to even pay the C-class fighters and stuff like that. Like just like 40-50 quid. It wasn't like, but so any money we were taking in, we were trying to get put back into the show and stuff. But it's very expensive. Not a career you want to pursue. Really,
no,
I think, unless you got like some good, like a good contact with the venue. The bar is a big one. If you could have the bar, you make a lot of money. But no venue gives you the bar, really. So yeah, it is very, very costly and very, very stressful.
So you won't be doing any shows anytime soon?
I'm not interested in that, man. No, I'm not interested. I just want to be the fighter.
Right.
I just want to be able to go fight and then come back home. That's an easier job than to promote. So I get it, and I know there's always a debate about, fighters should get paid more. I agree, but the promoters can only do so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe some promoters take the piss, but that's up to fighters if they want to continue fighting on the show. What I don't understand is when a fighter complains about a certain show because they don't earn enough money or whatever, but then they continue to go on it.
Yeah.
Saying, there's no one to blame but yourself. But yeah, so it's a hard one. But yeah, fighters do deserve a lot more money, especially Thai boxers. But not enough people to come and watch the sport, and
You just mentioned the Tanko shows there. Obviously, they were like really exciting shows to watch. Why did they end up stopping?
So there was, first of all, they were very costly running shows. It was just me and Jamie, my best mate, at first that came up with the idea. We just wanted to. We were actually going to go into property like together, and then he's like, "Oh, why don't we just make some equipment and sell it, and martial arts equipment?" So I was like, "Yeah, why not? Let's try it." And then we started doing some clothing, and then we started sponsoring 1 or 2 shows, and then it started going like that, and then before we know it, we were promoting shows, and it was just went like this really fast. And I mean, any money we were getting in, we were investing back in. And then we got 2 more directors on board, shareholders, but everybody had their own full-time job. I still wanted to be a fighter. I still wanted to run a gym. and I wanted to invest all that, and I need to. So no one really had the time to properly invest in the Tanko. I, for one, wasn't passionate enough to sacrifice what the gym and my fighting for it. So that's why I took a step back from it. It's still there. It's not shut down.
Yeah.
It's just stagnant.
Yeah.
But my best friend Jamie, he's still got it, and he's got some plans to relaunch and that. So yeah, like I'll always support him and stuff, but I want to focus on my fighting in the gym at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm not passionate enough for it to go down that route, you know.
It must be stressful fighting, coaching, and putting on an event as well.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
It's very hard, very hard.
So obviously we've had COVID this year, and I know it's put a lot of strain and restrictions on gyms. How has it affected All Powers?
So All Powers were, as soon as we came out of lockdown, we were the busiest we've ever been, to the point where I thought if we carried on till the end of the year, we would have probably made up for the lost time financially. But there was a point where we had to shop for a couple of weeks, and then but when we opened back up, Tier 3 came into play, and so I mean we're busy, but nowhere near as busy as we used to be. And people are more wary nowadays. You know, you get a bit of a cold and you think you've got coronavirus.
There's me sniffing my nose.
This is it. It's like you can't cough without thinking, oh shit, they must think I've got, I'm sick and that. You can't do anything, man, without people thinking you might have it. We're okay at the moment, but I think in time, when we start feeling recession, the recession in the new year, I think that's when we'll tell. And martial arts isn't in the top list of your priorities when you need to put food on the table, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I hope it doesn't get that bad, but yeah, it's just a shame that it got to this point. I mean, exercise in general should be an essential service, for your immune system and your mental health. Not just for us financially, but it should be an essential service.
Yeah, it seems crazy to me that they're closing gyms but allowing pubs to keep open and stuff like that.
Yeah, at least in a gym, you're working on your coordination and your balance. You can keep that distance. Whereas when you're drinking pints after pint, it
goes out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How have you found it yourself? Have you been training much? I know Juan's been doing shows and stuff like that. Have you got any injuries? Have you?
So what I've done is I was doing a lot of one-to-ones. So I've taken a step back from teaching classes. I don't teach as many classes as I used to. Dan and Stevie, who teach for me, do more of the classes. So I do a lot more one-to-ones. But I tried to cap them after lockdown. I tried to cap it to a certain amount, just so I have time to train myself. And I just do I do 2 S&Cs a week. I do one pad session with Darren Phillips from GFC.
Right, okay.
Working on my boxing mainly. And then hit pads with Ricky Sewell, who used to be my teammate originally. But I just try and do as much as possible. But like I've capped how many privates a week I teach, just so I have the time to train now, because I just enjoy training more. You know what I mean?
I think it's important, like I said, with Juan,
Gotta keep fresh, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely.
So you mentioned you mentioned the new year there. What are your plans then for 2021? Is it like to open the gym back up and plan to go back to Asia and fight again?
I think at the moment, after like constantly being disappointed all throughout the year, I'm just taking it month by month, really. So I've had big plans earlier this year. This was going to be one of my busiest years of fighting in a long time. I was due to have I had 4 fights scheduled, and I was hoping to have one more in December. 2 here in the UK for the first time in years. One with Mo Abdurrahman and one with Craig Coakley on MTGP. And
both fought each other, aren't they, as well?
So I was going to be fighting Craig first and then Mo after, and then I had a fight scheduled with Capitan
Right.
Chindi.
Okay.
And I had one more.
Was that in one?
Yeah, and I had one more. I can't remember who. I probably would have lasted more than 5 seconds though. Did you see it when you knocked that guy?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Nice easy round.
I seen the highlight, and then I actually watched the full fight, and I thought, did this happen straight away?
Well, this is it. Like, I was watching the fight, and I was like, it's gonna be this will be interesting, because I was almost gonna fight him, and then bang. I was like, what? But it couldn't have been more obvious. But yeah, it's I can't remember who the other one was supposed to be on one, and then I was hoping to have one more.
Right.
And then coronavirus happened. So yeah, I try not to, and then I was training just in case, and then doing certain things because in hope that but then lockdowns happened, and then there's just the uncertainty, so you can't really prepare. I mean, I've got some contingency plans and some fallback plans and stuff, and making sure that my family is secure financially,
That's good.
But I haven't really made any plans for the new year. There's things that I'd like to do in the new year, but I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. I think it's just good that you're still keeping active yourself. You're still making time, still doing your S&C, and you're improving. And
so you shouted out. You talked about CBD UK before. I was wondering if there's any other sponsors that you have that you'd like to shout out before we end.
Yeah. So one CBD UK, who helped me with my sleep massively every night. Not personally, with the oil. John Ward, who's a really good friend of mine, who also has supported me from day one. Rick Ferns, who owns Dents. He's also supported me from day one. From when I first started the gym, and I really struggled. And then just everyone around me, my wife, my family, my friends, the gym members. I've got a massive network around me of people that are always ready to help, and I'm always willing to give it back. Friends like Jamie Alays and Ricky Sewell, always there for me and helping me. So but yeah, just there's too many to name,
And you've got some Warrior collectives, haven't you, out?
Yeah. Stuart Tomlinson actually, he's done a lot more than people think behind the scenes. He's helped me. He was the one who helped me get to Evolve. He got me to train at Evolve for free. He managed to get me in there, and which I think helped me get into Warrior Series. And then he was the one who put me onto the Warrior Series, which then eventually led to me getting signed to one. And then he does the videos and stuff. He's a good friend of mine as well.
You got Stuart.
He's forever trying to get fit on the pads with me, but it's become a biannual thing now.
Right.
So,
Get back in the gym.
I've given up on him now.
Well, thank you very much for having us down. Really good to talk to you.
Cheers.
Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you again soon.